We will call to order the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee meeting of October 26, 2021, beginning at 7 o'clock p.m. Present are committee members Brossard and Limpert, council members Schuman, Kelly, Heeman, Glassburn, HR Director, Finance Director, Planning and Interim Safety Director, and our loyal guest, Tim. And we're here this evening to discuss two items, the first of which is Resolution 2021-65, which is a resolution dispensing with the formal RFP process and authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Pradco to provide pre-employment testing and police and fire promotional testing services and declaring an emergency. And I believe Director Gallo is going to handle both.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this agreement with Pradco, we've been using them now for 7 years, and one of the services they offer are pre-employment behavioral assessments for our entry-level police and firefighters, and then they also offer promotional assessments to help us with our promotional examinations that we give for our police department and our fire department. This is a one-year contract.
Thank you. What has happened with the cost last year to this year?
The cost is the same as last year.
Okay, all right. And I take it you and the administration are happy with the services, otherwise we wouldn't be here this evening?
Yes, and the Civil Service Commission also has input as well. They've been very happy with the services.
Okay. Very good, that's all I had. Any questions from committee?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there any added benefit to going with the same vendor every year as far as any kind of historical comparisons and things of that nature?
So historically, right before I was brought on as director, the city had started using Pradco. Prior to that, the city had used the psychological examinations, so this does have a psychological element as well as a behavioral. The advantage of using Pradco is the testing categories and the assessment categories are based on what we are looking for in our candidates. So they narrow down to what we are looking for and what we think is a good fit for our police department and fire department, as far as leadership, how they act and how these candidates would act in a certain situation, things of that nature. So this digs a little bit deeper, and we get good feedback from this company. A lot of cities use this company and are very happy with the results. Also, we like how not only do we use them for entry-level background, but we also use them in promotional, where they actually add scores to our candidates that may be applying for positions such as captain, and it helps weigh the outcome of the lists that we come up with.
Thank you.
Mr. Glassburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director, you mentioned that this test has additional ways of culling the candidate pool. To what degree does it limit, how much greater degree are we rejecting applicants?
So we don't reject too many applicants out of this background assessment. So the categories are a good fit, marginal, fair, and so they're categorized. We've had a couple that did fail the behavioral, and each time we have candidates that fail, I do speak to Pradco and they give me the reasons why. We also offer to the candidates to look at the areas that they've failed on, and we also tell them just because they didn't pass the assessment for our city doesn't mean they would not be a good fit somewhere else. But that's a long answer to your question. We've had people that have been denied because of the Pradco background, but not too many.
Thank you.
If I may add.
Of course.
We are having, as you know, we're having a difficult time, as all cities are, finding police and fire candidates. So we do everything we can on our end, including the lateral transfer process that we now have for both police and fire to offset the difficulty of finding candidates at the entry-level category.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Oh, yeah, one second, please. Let the record reflect that the law director is also present. Go ahead, Mr. Schuman.
I just wondered, is this something that's happening like nationally or something, or is that the problem? Is this the same labor shortage we're seeing everywhere else, or? With the
It's
police and
very
fire?
common in Cuyahoga County. Around here is where I'm most familiar with.
Okay.
And throughout the state, we are having difficulty finding candidates to take the entry-level tests. You know, the lateral process could be viewed as poaching sometimes, but it does open up a pool, and we've received very good candidates through the lateral process as well.
Good.
So it is a problem.
I was just curious. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, at this time, I'll make a motion to approve to all of council Resolution 2021-65 and ask for a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Limpert. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that'll pass 2-0. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2021-66, a resolution dispensing with the formal RFP process and authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Personnel Selection Services to provide entry-level and written promotional testing services and declaring an emergency. Director Gallo.
So this company, we've been with them for 4 years now, and what we use them the most for is entry-level testing for both police and fire, and this is the written examination portion. We are still using the written portion for police sergeant, but we are changing and have been changing the process and improving the process for which we do promotional examinations. So they're not being used as much anymore for promotional written exams, but mostly for entry level. And then the candidates are ranked based on their scores, and then the list is produced, and that's what we interview and hire off of.
Okay. So really same, from my standpoint, same set of questions as the previous topic, cost this year versus last year, and happiness of administration and civil service.
The same with Bradco, no cost change, and the city and the Civil Service Commission is happy.
Okay. Questions from committee? Council? Okay. Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve to all of council Resolution 2021-66 and ask for a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Limpert. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That'll also pass 2-0. And we'll conclude the meeting at 7:09 PM.
Thank you, Mr.
Director
Chairman.
Gallo.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, you have just under 2 minutes.
This is the Finance Committee of Council. It's 10/26/21, at 7:15. Present are committee members Broussard, Kelly, and Schuman, along with councilpersons Heeman, Limpert, Glassburn, Council President Jones, Planning Director, HR Director, Finance Director, Law Director. Guests, I don't think I missed anybody. We've got three pieces on the agenda. The first one is 2021-63, which is the transfer ordinance. It reads, an ordinance to make and transfer appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the city of North Olmsted for the year ending December 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency. Director Kopfer?
Yes. I am on the detailed sheet because the explanations are there. There's, in the Division of Information Systems, we did have a meeting and we discussed changing our priorities somewhat because of all the security issues we've had. So we've moved from 2023, we've moved up the cloud hosting. So we had to rearrange some dollars because a lot of their money was in capital equipment and computer equipment and communications equipment and software. And with that, there were a couple projects that weren't going to be able to be accomplished this year. So that would be moving into the capital next year. And there are some that we did accomplish, but for example, we were able to do some of it with the project down in the front, in the lobby. With the security upgrades, we were able to do some of the wiring and things that were in this year's budget that then we didn't have to spend out of the general fund. So we took $9,500 out of the communications equipment, $100,000 out of computer equipment, and $4,500 or sorry, $4,500 from $26,000. I apologize, from software. These were things that we either, like I said, are things that we're chronologically going to have to do next year, and we've also added cybersecurity training, which has been developing, and I know that they're looking at that, but we're going to probably get under contract, but we probably won't get very far in it. So the cloud platform, we're looking at that. We're looking at dual multi-factor, two-factor authentication. We also are looking at MX Hero, which is an integrated service with the the emails, and it kind of like the sandbox where it takes the attachments off so that you don't get it attached to our system, and the cybersecurity training, and then the WOW Fiber, which we did have in the budget. IT determined that these were the 5 things that we wanted to accomplish and get set up before the end of the year. So we made that happen by moving the money out of the capital into the contractual services, as well as taking the remaining funds, since we're not going to be having a service director and the safety director is not half-time, it's interim. So we took the wages from there and the $20,000 from building software, which is not going to be purchased, and put that into outside services for IT, because all those things are subscription services and are contractual services and not capital. The building department had increase for vehicle repairs and for fuel needed in their budget. Corrections officers needed $10,000 for prisoner claims. There's a potential large claim that's coming through. As you recall, we're required, if they don't have insurance, we are required to provide insurance for our prisoners. Then that's all in the general fund, and that's a net in the general fund increase of 0, so we were able to move things around within the general fund. The separation pay, we had $600,000 in there for, and we need another $182,074.63 for an increase in separation pay for what we know is coming. We've already, we have acknowledgement from several that are leaving before the end of the year. And then the local coronavirus relief fund, we have additional dollars that were in capital outlay, and we need to move them to materials and supplies so that we can expend the rest of our monies out of the COVID fund, relief fund. And I think the fire department has purchase orders relating to that for PPE supplies and various supplies that they need. The sewer revenue fund has $4,000 increase for sewer refunds. Oh, and right above, the Springville Golf Course has increase for refunds of canceled events for $22,000 that we needed to increase. And the trust and agency fund, that's monies that go and are deposits on hold. And after their work projects are done, or their sewers are attached, or whatever it is, then the monies less any inspection fees get reimbursed to the contractor or the homeowner or what have you. So we need an increase for refunds. Oh, additionally, I'm sorry, cabin rentals, they pay a deposit that goes in there as well. So the total amount of increase of all funds is $345,243.37, and that's.
Any questions from committee? Questions from council? All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we recommend
With suspension.
with suspension.
please. Yes.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we recommend 2021-63 with suspension. Ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Okay. Good. Next, we're going to discuss 2021-67. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into an agreement with North Olmsted Board of Education to exchange school district-owned real property, permanent parcel number 234-21009 for city-owned real property, permanent parcel number 234-110 16004 via land exchange as authorized by Ohio Revised Code, Section 3313.40, for the purpose of acquiring land for necessary public infrastructure improvements. And I take it this is the EQ Basin land at Spruce. Who's taking this? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Director,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
would you let the record reflect, please, that Mr. Glassburn has, departed and is not participating?
Oh, I didn't even notice.
I
Okay.
know.
All right, yeah, I guess that he has been recusing himself from
Yes.
all discussions of this property with the school. So, yeah, I will make note of the fact that Mr. Glassburn has left the building. Director,
Mr. Chair, as you pointed out, this is the piece of legislation that will allow the city to acquire the property that we have selected for the EQ basin, so the equalization underground tank that will be connected to our sanitary sewer system based upon engineering analysis of a variety of properties that would serve the South Interceptor area. So the method of acquiring is swap. I think Director Garreau can probably speak more to the mechanics of that. But the parcel is a separate, about 7-acre parcel just west of Spruce School that would be exchanged for city-owned land that is also a vacant parcel of just over 6 acres that is landlocked behind Chestnut School, but is, again, city-owned.
this is an ideal location for this EQ basin. It's right where we had all the issues last year with the flooding and previous years. And, I mean, it's actually in Park Ridge, and it's right almost adjacent to Bretton Ridge, just the other side of Stern, so it's really kind of perfect. So, any questions from committee? No? Any questions from council? Okay, super. I'm sure nobody wants to hold this up. I'll go ahead and make a motion at this time that we recommend 2021-67 and ask for a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. I think Mr. Glassburn is going to join us, so we'll give him a minute. Did he leave? Oh, okay. I guess he won't join us. Okay. So this is ordinance number 2021-68. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the State of Ohio Department of Transportation for the purpose of acquiring state-owned property for local public purpose. 4 parcels. You want to fill us in on this guy?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we had conducted the site-specific studies that led us to the property next to Spruce, we had generally looked at properties as recommended in CT Consultant South Interceptor study of 2019, and we'd identified several state-owned parcels along that corridor, and so we had engaged with discussion with the state of Ohio regarding acquisition of a number of properties, at least one of which seemed sizable enough to contain the EQ tank that we were considering at that point. We had also identified other state-owned properties in and around the vicinity that could potentially serve as future public use for stormwater projects or things of that nature. So there are 4 parcels that the city would receive through this agreement. Just over 4 acres of vacant land adjacent to 480 west of school-owned property that backs up to Bellevue. The city had recently acquired a parcel that connects this land to Fitch through tax foreclosure. So until we could acquire that property, we had no access and the county wouldn't record the plat. So we had to wait through the tax foreclosure process to wrap up that detail to gain access. 2 of the parcels are accessible off of Stearns. There's about a 1.4 acre and a 1.6 acre vacant parcel, one on the east and one on the west side, just south of I-40. And the 4th is not really for storm or sanitary at all, but is land on Butternut Ridge Road where the North Olmsted bike path comes out on the south side of Butternut, right across from the Ox Cart Pantry. It's a separate standalone parcel, and we saw value in obtaining that for our public purpose as well. So this agreement contains the acquisition of all 4 of those. It's been reviewed by our law department. If there's questions about the agreement itself.
That's terrific. We talked about putting a pocket park in there a long time ago and the potential to do that. That's great. And then these other properties, are they connected in any way to that creek that's back there along 480? Or, so this
No.
would be after the 2 creeks get together at the high school and then go further down. Can we get to it? Is this going to be a place we can put water?
I think most likely there'll be potential stormwater locations that might require additional land acquisition to make them oriented properly. And also we'll need to do some environmental on those too, because we found a lot of wetlands and environmental issues in all the properties along that 480 corridor as we were exploring for this project.
Thank you very much. Any questions from committee? Go ahead, Mr. Broussard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kim, can you just clarify future land acquisition? Do you have anything potentially identified at this point?
In terms of land?
In terms of the last comment, the last answer, Q&A.
We have also looked at the spruce property we'll be acquiring from the schools as potentially also being sizable enough to accommodate a stormwater project. We've also looked into the potential of a culvert under Stearns Road in that particular location that could add capacity to the collection system. So there's a couple possibilities even on the school property we're acquiring that might give us one piece of land with potentially 2 purposes. So we're exploring to see if that, we got to first site the EQ basin and then see if other land is still available to offer above ground storage as well.
That creek runs right next to the school
Right.
property too. So
Correct.
that's something you could pick up and just put some open retention in, hopefully. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we recommend 2021-68 and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Thank you very much, Director. All good news. And I guess that concludes my meeting. We'll call it 7:30.